You think your social media feed is dramatic? Imagine a world where a single 10-word message could spark an international scandal, get you blackmailed, or even help hunt down a murderer. This wasn't the 21st century. This was the Victorian era. They had their own version of the internet, made of steam and copper wire. But what happens when gossip starts to travel faster than government secrets? What happens when a private rumor can circle the globe in minutes, and there's no delete button? The Victorians were the first to find out. Everything from cancel culture to cyberbullying already happened in 1889. It wasn't online. It was in ink, brass, and code. And once you see how their connected world unraveled, you'll never look at your phone the same way again. To understand how wild this got, you first have to picture the crushing silence of the world before it. In the early 19th century, information moved only as fast as a horse or a ship. News was history by the time it arrived. This wasn't just an inconvenience. It was a source of profound grief. In 1825, an artist named Samuel Morse was working in Washington, D.C. when he got a letter saying his wife was sick. He raced home, but by the time he arrived, she had already been buried. That personal tragedy became an obsession. Morse was determined to kill the distance and the agonizing silence that defined his world. The solution he helped pioneer felt like magic: the electric telegraph. Using a simple key to send electrical pulses down a wire, he created a language of dots and dashes. Morse code. It was the world's first digital language. On May 24, 1844, he sent the first message. What hath God wrought? For the first time, a message had traveled faster than the messenger. The tyranny of distance was over. But here's what's crazy. In solving one problem, Morse had unknowingly created a dozen new ones. The telegraph didn't just stay in government offices. It exploded into public life, creating a system that feels shockingly similar to our own social media. The hub of this new world was the telegraph office, the internet cafe of its day. But there was a catch. It was expensive. Companies charged by the word. So people invented a new way of writing called telegrams. They stripped out every non-essential word, creating short, punchy bursts of information. It was the 19th century version of a character limit. They were, in effect, the first teletweets. And just like tweets, they could be very public. Important news bulletins were often posted on a public board in the telegraph office for everyone to see. A town square with a live feed of world events. But this also meant your private messages weren't so private. Every message was read and transcribed by an operator. With information and gossip now traveling at the speed of light, it was only a matter of time before the network was used for something far more scandalous. With a network that could spread information instantly, the Victorians practically invented viral drama. Take the Cleveland Street scandal of 1889. When police discovered a male brothel in London, the story became explosive because the employees were young telegraph messenger boys. The network itself was part of the crime. As rumors flew that aristocrats and even royalty were clients, the British press was too scared to name names. But the telegraph had no such fear. The story was wired to papers in America and Europe, who printed every juicy detail. It was a classic case of a story going viral internationally, creating a feedback loop of gossip and outrage that we see on Twitter every day. Then there was the cause célèbre. A legal case the entire world followed like a true crime podcast. When a butcher from Australia claimed to be Sir Roger Tichborne, a lost heir to a British fortune, the resulting court battle became a national obsession. The public was completely divided, forming what were basically fan communities to debate every telegraphed update from the courtroom. But the ultimate display of the telegraph's power came in 1910 with the manhunt for the murderer Dr. Crippen. After fleeing England by ship, Crippen was recognized by the captain, who used the ship's new wireless telegraph to alert London. Here's where the story gets insane. Scotland Yard sent a faster ship to intercept them, and the captain started telegraphing live updates to the press. The entire world watched in real time as the trap was set. It was the first time a criminal was caught by wireless telegraphy. A manhunt followed by millions, updated by dots and dashes sent across the cold Atlantic. These viral spectacles were just the beginning. The Victorian internet was fundamentally changing society, and it created a whole new set of anxieties that should sound very familiar. If you've ever felt overwhelmed by your news feed, the Victorians felt it first. They worried about the stress from the constant flood of news. A cartoon from 1906 even mocked the new technology, showing two people with wireless contraptions on their heads, sitting back to back, unable to communicate. The fear that technology isolates us isn't new. It's Victorian. And what about privacy? A telegram wasn't a sealed letter. It was handled by multiple operators, any of whom could read it, making it a breeding ground for blackmail and corporate espionage. Sound familiar? Your private information was, for the first time, a commodity. But it wasn't all bad. This new information economy created new jobs, especially for women. The telegraph industry became one of the first high-tech fields to hire women as skilled operators, giving thousands a new kind of economic independence. They were the original women in tech, so you have this strange paradox. The telegraph was a tool of imperial control and corporate power, but it also gave a voice to the public, created new careers for women, and made it much harder for anyone to control the truth. The world of steam-powered servers and teletweets can feel like a distant past. And yet, the story of the Victorian internet is, in so many ways, our story. The tech has changed, but the human drama is identical. The thrill of connection, the anxiety of overload, the fear for our privacy, the public scandals. All of it started in the 19th century. The Victorians were the first generation to grapple with the unsettling consequences of a wired world. They learned, just as we are, that every great leap in our ability to connect brings with it a new set of deeply human challenges. We see ourselves as pioneers of the digital age, but maybe we're just living in a faster, more chaotic version of the world the Victorians built. It makes you wonder, what lesson are we still refusing to learn from their first uncertain steps into a connected world? If this made you rethink the past, imagine what happens when the future rewrites itself. Hit subscribe. We've got a timeline to unravel.